You've seen the title on the thumbnail, so spoiler alert, already I'm calling it early. If you've not seen it, hit pause or stop and come back. Spoiler alert, okay, this is about Blink Twice, the film which is highlighted by Jaguar Wright, who was recently on Piers Morgan, who mentions that this is basically about the whole Diddy thing, the Epstein thing. It's really a massive comment on the media at the moment, the whole media industry, Hollywood, the elites, because of Diddy, of course, now, the music industry, which may have much deeper roots in this. This is about Blink Twice. Welcome to another episode of Screen Chat.
Screen Chat.
In this one, we're covering Blink Twice, the recent film starring Channing Tatum and directed and I believe written by as well Zoe Kravitz. So we're going to get straight into it, guys. Spoiler alert, spoiler alert, spoiler alert. Okay? So this film is absolutely filled with meaning, all right? The shots, the lines, which are very well written, just general acting throughout the whole film. It is filled with meanings and references. People are pulling so much from this film. It's amazing. The film itself is brilliantly put together. Some of the best performances I've seen since Get Out, probably. And Channing Tatum's best role. I've got to say that. This has got to be Channing Tatum's best role. Not that I've seen everything he's made. He is good in comedies. 21 Jump Street was good. And the recent with Sandra Bullock, I think he was in as well. He was good in that. So quite versatile. But this was the first proper dramatic role that I'd seen him in. And he was fantastic. Really well done. I believe Channing Tatum and Zoe Kravitz, the director, are in a relationship at the moment. So, make what you will. Let's jump into one of the lines in the film. I'm finally here and I'm not invisible. That is something which is said by the main character when she is basically at the island. The island, which, let's say it, is basically Epstein's island, right? She's there. She's having her first few days, but her friend at this point is having, well, in fact, might have been a week in. We lose track of time. So she's there for a little while, and her friend at this point is having thoughts of leaving. She wants to get out of there. And the main character, of course, she turns to her friend and says, look, for once, I'm actually being looked at. For once, I'm actually being seen, and it's by a very successful tech billionaire. Let's stay for longer. Let's not just get out of here. Let's stay for longer. Yeah. Basically, there's a theme here about her reaching for opportunity, about her wanting to be rescued. And really, how many people want to be rescued from their current circumstances? Why do so many people get themselves almost willingly into such vulnerable positions and situations? It's for opportunity. It's to be rescued. People who were going to Epstein's Island, how he got people roped in at Epstein's Island, the victims, that was all basically down to He got that down to money. That was all down to money. He paid them to do it, gave them opportunities, quick money, a way to a new life, and these people were taken by it, you know? They were vulnerable to it, and that's what was preyed upon. And that's what this film really talks about. Another line from the film, this holiday has done things to me that I don't even know about. And that's said by one of the other victims, okay? She's there having a holiday. She's there a few days in. And she says, I found that an amazing line. This holiday has done things to me that I don't even know about. And she's basically saying that this holiday has been so good, so luxurious, such such an unusually amazing experience that it's done things to her. When, of course, there's a double meaning to that, where there were actual things that were happening to her, which she has no idea about. And there are lots of lines like that in the film where they have this second meaning. It's so intricately written. It's very well thought through, very well thought out. And that goes down to how it's filmed. It really pulls at emotions and draws you in. The victims in this film were intoxicated to the degree of incapacity, which I believe is one of the most vulnerable positions, because it has them leave that experience, or they live through the next day or the following days with a degree of shame, self-blame. Maybe they feel like they were complicit, and that adds to the shame. And what's interesting is part of the film mentions that, okay, one of the girls, the main character, is getting attacked by this old man, right? And she's in this state now where she's intoxicated, yet she's lucid, she's aware that she's being attacked. And the old man is standing over her, and he says to Channing Tatum's character, "Are you sure she won't remember this?" And he responds, "The more traumatic it is, or the worse it is, the more they forget." And now that was interesting, because it makes me feel like the more traumatic it is, the more harsh on them it is. It's not a case of the more they forget, it's the more they block it out. You know? The more the other factors come in, the shame, the self-blame, the social pressures, all of that comes into it, and they block it out even more. It's definitely not forgotten, but it's blocked out to a point where it can be coped with. And I feel like that's what's mentioned there, the fact that the more traumatic it is, the more it is gone, in a way. I found that interesting. And the film also touched upon total dependence on the one in control. So, like total dependence on Epstein, total dependence on Diddy, for example. And these people, these abusers, get people into a state, into a situation where they are completely in control of everything. Like on Epstein's Island, Epstein was completely in control, you know, allegedly or whatever. And this film touches upon that, because they're on the island, everything's paid for, you're not getting off the island without the say-so of the owner or whatever. You're being fed, watered, place to sleep, roof over your head, your safety, all of that is covered by the owner of the island. And this film touches upon that theme of total dependence. People have said that the lighter in the film, which has like a smiley face on it, is inspired by Justin Bieber's brand, which has a smiley face on it, which is basically the exact same one which was on that lighter. And the character who owns that lighter is called Jess. Might just be a, coincidence, but it might well be more than that. Also, apparently, that lighter represents memory. And Jess, the owner of the lighter, was very much aware of where that lighter is at all times. Who's got it, where it is. She lends it out often, always trying to get back, getting it back off people. But then when she's on the island, she starts to lose track of the lighter. Until the point where Jess is gone and the lighter's still here. And then that becomes one of the signs in the film. But yeah, that's what that lighter represents. And there's tools like this throughout the film. And it makes it such an interesting watch. And watching Jess fail to recollect where the lighter is was amazing. It was just so telling, such a brilliant tool in the film. We have to mention that this film, being made by Zoe Kravitz, is an extremely
important
part of the film in itself. Because Zoe Kravitz says that she drew from actual life experience around powerful people, right? Being in rooms with powerful people is actually what inspired this film. And of course, she is daughter of Lenny Kravitz, who of course has been a megastar for ages. So Zoe Kravitz has grown up in the industry, you know? And that has got some real depth to it. The film coming from her has got some real depth and meaning. It's interesting that in the film, another tool is the snake venom. So there's venom there. There are snakes which have kind of infested the island, and they've got like a snake problem. But the strangest thing is that when you take in some of that venom, either through a snake bite, or if you drink some of that venom, then you're able to remember. So the chemical which is making you forget, which you're being spiked with every night, is unable to take effect. So you then start to remember things instead. You can remember what's happened. And Zoe Kravitz mentions that snake venom, that whole snake theme, is inspired by a biblical story. One which I won't go into now, but it is inspired by that. I really want to mention story. Like, this film is not a film that has much of a story, okay? Yes, it's perhaps a story of following someone's attempt to get out of a sad, boring life and go on to something better. That may well be, part of the story, okay? But I feel like this film doesn't have much of a story for me. It's not really massively story-driven. And what I mean by that is, this film really is made to comment on things that have happened recently. Epstein, Diddy, Hollywood, everything that we see in the media right now, things that people are aware of, but perhaps these things are not mentioned in mainstream media, but people are very well aware of them. That's what this film is for. That's who this film is for. It's for people to look at and pick out meanings and say, okay, that's what that means. That refers to that. That refers to this. So if the Epstein thing hadn't happened recently, if the Diddy thing wasn't happening right now, then there may well be an argument that this film wouldn't really be much. It may well not be as successful as it is had those things not happened. That's my opinion. That's what I think. So it really resonates with people who are very much aware of Hollywood, the dark side of elite circles. And really, there aren't many of us in the grand scheme of things. The vast majority of people go around, with their eyes wide shut. And you know exactly what I mean. Their eyes wide shut. And now I still find that hair-raising for myself. That title, we're just going to go off on a little bit of an honorary mention here because that links in with this film, really. They both speak about circles, media, powerful circles, elites, what they actually do or may do. Eyes Wide Shut still gives me hair raises and tingles and stuff, because what that means is it's not eyes wide open, it's eyes wide shut. So it's like it's happening right in front of your eyes, but your eyes are shut. And that is just creepy in itself. This film is very much like Eyes Wide Shut. One thing this film should have in it, which it doesn't, are female clients. Not female staff. I mean, there's female staff in the helper ladies, the very creepy helper lady, who is the key to this unraveling, because she's actually very nice and good, because she gives the snake venom to the main character and things start moving. Of course, there's the other woman who is, I believe, Channing Tatum's character's sister. All right, I believe she's the sister. But she's also apparently self-medicating, right? So she's forgetting. And she comes on to say it, as well as Channing Tatum, they both say the line, forgetting is a gift, which is a really interesting theme as well in this. Forgetting is a gift. I myself find forgetting very interesting as well, really, because I think forgetting is the one thing that categorically all humans on Earth have in common. The ability or the flaw, which is to forget. So one thing is, I think that this film was missing female clients, because we're pretty sure that there were female clients who went to Epstein's Island who had their own reasons to be there and be clients, not victims. I believe they would watch certain things going on over there. So there is that, and that should be in the film, but it isn't. Okay, so that's one thing. However, I give the film credit for having a male victim in the film, Lucas, I believe his name was, who was there, and he was getting basically abused. We'll come on to a little bit of him in a moment. And I will just come back to this film and its creepy vibe. The creepy vibe is in line with The Wicker Man, Get Out, and Eyes Wide Shut. More of The Wicker Man and Eyes Wide Shut than it is Get Out. Get Out is maybe a little bit, off, on a branch off, to be honest with you. The line, "There is no forgiveness, only forgetting," which Slater King, the main character, mentions, I find that interesting because we really are not in a world of forgiveness. There is no forgiveness, only forgetting. And I believe that's true. Like, we're in a world where nowadays, if you do something wrong and you say sorry, if it's friends, family who are genuine, it's fine. They will forgive you. But if it's not, if it's not actual friends or family, then 9 times out of 10, that person will actually not forgive you. They'll say they accept your apology, but they won't actually forgive you. So I find that interesting. We aren't in a world of forgiveness. It's just a matter of time until that person forgets about what's happened, and then maybe things are okay. But until that's forgotten, there isn't forgiveness. It actually makes you think of one of my favourite quotes, which is, "To err is human," in other words, to make an error is human, "and to forgive, divine." And so to forgive is a divine thing. And that just really hits home with this. I really do find that, like, we're not in the world of forgiveness anymore, which is very unfortunate. Especially when it comes to people, forgiving people. I think that's a bit of an issue. Now, another key line in this film, "There's a special place in hell for people who do nothing." Now, I find this actually to be quite pivotal. So, Slater King, the main character, the Epstein character in this, who is Channing Tatum, says this to Lucas. And Lucas is the male victim. So he is getting regularly attacked. But of course, he can't remember the attacks, which happen every night. Okay. He is intoxicated in a way where he ain't going to remember it. Now, what happens is, the women, of course, all start to remember because they've all managed to solve it somehow and help each other. So they all start to remember, right? And then what happens next is they all start to get attacked by the men, like openly, outright. And Lucas is with the men. So he's like, "What are we doing? We're nice guys." But then the guys say, no, then Slater King says, "You didn't do anything." And he goes, "Oh, thank God." Now, strangely enough, Lucas is saying that after the women have now, in front of his face, just been attacked, like, very badly. And then Slater King, Channing Tatum, says, No, I mean, you did nothing. You did nothing for them." In other words, this is a comment upon people who see injustice happen and they just stand by. Bystanders. Yeah? People who are in the circles, not really involved, but not really entirely uninvolved. They're basically complicit. Complicit through inaction. Right? And that's what this comment is about. And he says, "There's a special place in hell for people who do nothing." Right? That's what the actual Epstein character says. I find that very interesting. He's going to argue that, yeah, I'm doing bad, but at least I'm doing something. You're in a place where you're not doing bad, but you're not doing good either. And I find that, that inaction is complicity. And that's an argument in this film, because we've got to look at, with all this Epstein stuff, with all the Diddy stuff, right? There are people who are on the fringes, people who are, in the peripheral vision, who are fully aware of what's going on, but doing nothing. And that's what this comment is about. And again, I find that so interesting for that to have come from somebody who's in the media, brought up in the media, for this whole story to have come out, and then for that to be in there as well, that detail, because that would be many more people. There'd be a lot more people who know it's happening and doing nothing than there are involved, if you know what I mean. And that is crazy. So there's so much more in this film. I can't go into it. All I can say is watch the film. It's absolutely magnificent. And we'll basically leave that there. This has definitely gone on long enough. So this is about Blink Twice, and this has been Screen Chat. We will chat again soon. Thanks again for watching, and I will catch you guys in the next one.